Instead of starting a business from scratch, people are opting to buy a business that they can just scale up. That way they can live off the profits or end up flipping the business for huge profits down the road. Either way, today I'm gonna be giving you a good introduction on how you can actually go about doing this. So stay tuned. Now more than ever, it's such a perfect time to actually go out there and buy your own business. Now, there's an organization out there called Project Equity that has stated that baby boomers own over half of all privately held businesses. Okay. And now 6 out of 10 business owners plan to sell in the next decade. You're going to see a lot of businesses shift into other hands of younger people. So now's better than ever a time for you to be able to actually look into possibly buying a business if you've thought about running your own business in the past. So I'll break down how this works as well as what you should actually be focusing on and keep in mind when it comes to the whole buying process. Now, first thing you want to do is you want to decide what type of business you want to buy, right? There's all types of different categories, from buying an e-commerce business, right? Where you're actually selling physical goods. Maybe you want to buy more of a service-based business. Maybe there's a local car repair shop that you want to purchase. Or maybe there's even a plumbing business that's in your metroplex that you have been eyeing for quite a while. So whatever it is, you want to decide what kind of industry or what niche that you want to go into. The more laser focused you are, the easier you're going to find and actually be able to close on a deal. The reason is when you actually take the time to sit down and decide what you actually need and what your criteria are, you're going to see that when something comes across your desk that actually fits all those different specifications that you have, you know that that's exactly what you're looking for and you're willing to take the step. Whereas if you just say, hey, I just want to buy any business that's out there, right? Or I'm just going to look around until I find something that I like, you're going to be a lot more hesitant whenever you see something, because you're not going to be, you haven't taken the time to do the research for that specific category or type of business or even the industry. You're going to be a lot more risk averse when it comes to the whole process in general. So make sure that you are taking the time to follow this step. I would look at, hey, just for an example, maybe I'm looking and I want a service-based business. I want a business that is a pool cleaning company, right? So I clean pools, and I want this company to be making profit around 50,000 to 200,000, for example. Okay. And I want it to be servicing the greater Dallas area. So anywhere in Dallas, that's the only places that I want this business servicing. And I want it to have at least 3 employees or 4 employees, for example. Okay, that's kind of how granular that you want to get, because those are all key things, right? You want to make sure that, one, I know how much this company is making, right? Or how much profit I want it to have, right? They can give you an idea in terms of how much the business is going to cost as well, because a lot of these kind of go off of essentially off of ratios, right? Or multiples, I should say. And basically it might be, for a certain business type, you might have to pay a 2x multiple. So, if this company is making 50K, that you're going to have to pay 100K to buy the business, right? For an example. Another thing is I always look for the employees, because you want to make sure that once the business owner leaves, that you can come in and be able to, handle everything. Unless it's a business that's just getting off the ground and, the owner is giving you pretty much all the blueprints, but you can still make adjustments as the business is growing. That might be fine. But if it's a business that's been around 4 or 5 years, you want to make sure that all the processes are already written down, everything's locked in, and there's people who have been in the business for a year, 2 years, that can make sure that everything keeps running smoothly throughout the transition. Now that you've actually decided what type of business that you want to buy, now it's time to actually find that business that meets your requirements or your criteria. Okay. Now you can do some outreach. You can go through, LinkedIn, for example, or you can even go to, service providers. Okay. And what I mean by service providers is, think of like attorneys, CPAs, right? As a business owner, the types of people that business owners are having to deal with, on a constant basis. The reason why I say you want to reach out to those guys and let them know what your intentions are, especially if you're already running a business yourself, is because those guys are people that, a business owner is going to talk to about wanting to sell, right? If someone's looking at selling, they might talk to their CPA during tax time and say, hey, man, yeah, the CPA is checking up on him, says, hey, how's it going, Jim? And Jim says, oh, everything's all right, man, but I'm really looking to slow down. I want to try to get out of, the business, so on and so forth, right? He's going to be consoling himself to the CPA or to the attorneys, his lawyers, whatever the case may be, right? And so you want to be letting those people know that you're trying to buy that type of business, because they can now say, hey, Jim, actually, I know a guy who's looking to buy a business just like that or just like yours, right? And so that's a good way to get started. So you can do that through, LinkedIn. I recommend even, maybe you're posting about things like that on LinkedIn, right? Because other business owners might just see you and decide, hey, this is somebody I can reach out to. Or again, the service providers, especially if you already running a business and you have the attorneys, you have the CPAs, letting them know that you're looking to buy. On top of that, there's also websites. There's going to be websites like Flippa, which is more for online businesses, and website like Biz Buy Sell. Okay, these are just examples. There's a lot more out there, but these are two that I'm quite familiar with. Now, Biz Buy Sell is going to be more for I look at it more for local businesses. So if I'm trying to buy like a business that's in my area or in a specific area of the U.S. more specifically, maybe you're looking, I want a housekeeping business in Florida, in Miami, Florida, right? Or Miami-Dade County, for example. You can actually, set those criteria of what type of business that you want to look for and be able to find more of those local types of business on Biz Buy Sell. Whereas on Flippa, it's going to be more online businesses. So you're going to see things like, e-commerce stores, websites, blogs. You're even going to be able to see software products are also going to be out there. iPhone apps, Android apps, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, I lean more towards the Flippa side of things, but what I do like is there's techniques out there called roll-ups. I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video, but the idea is, you buy multiple different companies and then you kind of roll them up into one company. Okay. So that's why I kind of like both of these websites, because what you can do is you can possibly find a online business in Flippa, right? And then you buy a service-based business on Biz Buy Sell that's related to your online business. And then you kind of bolt them on together to where now you're be able to acquire customers through your online business that you have, right? And then you can offer them a service that comes from your service-based local business. So pretty much you're taking that local business online essentially, right? And because of that, that can help you be able to increase, the lifetime value of customers, which that's something else if you guys want me to go deeper into those type of concepts, just put it down in the comments. But the idea is you want to be able to make more money off of the same customer, right? If you paid to, get a customer, right? And by paying, I mean, maybe you did advertising, right? You paid for advertisements, or maybe you paid for, marketing, or you paid for somebody to speak about your company, whatever the case may be, right? One way or another, you more than likely paid for customers. You want to make sure that you can make the most or create the most value for that customer for you to be able to gain the most value for your business. Okay. So that's why I like that technique of, doing the roll-ups or getting two companies and putting them together, because that's where you can see that. A good example of that is, let's say, for example, I go on Flippa and I buy a blog that talks about how to create a website. Okay. So this blog only talks about building a websites, right? And then maybe I find a local business on Biz Buy Sell that creates websites. It's a web design company. Okay. So what I can do is I can bolt those two together. So now I have a blog that talks about building a websites, right? And I'm making money maybe from advertising on the website, but then I can offer people who come to that website to use my web design business, right? You see, so I've already acquired those customers, and then now I have another business that I can use to make more or create more value from those same customers. Okay, so that's kind of how you want to look at it. Now, once you found a company that you actually like and you want to try to see if you can work something out with them, then what you can do is you can start talking with the owner, right? So depending on where you are, where that person or that business owner is in the process, depends on how you kind of start this or how the conversation will go. If you're looking on these business buying websites, then of course, they already have the intentions of selling. But if you are doing your own outreach, whether you're using LinkedIn or all these other sources, right? Or, talking with CPA, things like that, then you want to come at it probably a little softer, especially, let's say, for example, you reach out to a company your own way, right? Maybe you find the owner on LinkedIn, you find the owner on Facebook, whatever the case may be. Then you kind of want to try to angle it a little different. You don't want to come straight in and say, hey, I'm here to buy your business, right? You maybe want to try to learn more about their business, try to come at it from a different angle than just let me buy your business. Okay. That's kind of how the route that you want to look at. But if you are on one of these, Biz Buy Sell websites or Flippa website, for example, everyone already kind of knows what's going on, right? You want to try to make sure that, you get their point of view in terms of the business, how the business has gone so far, what's some negative aspects of the business, what's some positives, where they see the business going, things like that. Okay, those are all important things you want to ask, even why they want to sell, right? You want to get an idea of why they want to sell. Okay, and I even try to look at seeing if they possibly want to stick on for some time, right? I want them to be there, for a couple months maybe, right? As pretty much as long as I can keep them on. That way we can make sure that the transition's as smooth as possible. Okay. Also, another thing you want to look at is making sure that the business does have enough profit for you to be able to hire an operator if that's what you want to do, if you want it to be a little more passive, or enough to actually pay you to be able to come in and full-time grow the business. Because at the end of the day, you're going to need to turn that business around, but you don't want it to be a situation where you just got yourself a new job, or unless you want to, right? Or it's a situation where now you're underpaid for what you're doing and you're not able to, grow the business for the amount that you thought. So one example would be, you buy a business that has $20,000 in profit a year, right? And the business owner was working in it. So now you've replaced the business owner. You want to try to, continue to grow the business, but that 20,000 you're going to need to live. But you need 50,000 to live. So now you have to worry about this business, but now you got to figure out another way to get more income to cover what your expenses are, your yearly expenses are, right? So it can make things a lot more complicated. So make sure that you look and see what the revenue and what the profitability of the business is to decide whether it's even going to work for you. And talking on the financials, guys, you also want to double check the financials. It shouldn't be a surprise that 99% of businesses will try to always paint you like this rosy picture of their business, right? Oh, my business has been killing it, or my business, I'm not able to do this, but if you do this, you're going to be able to make 100 times the money that I made with the business, right? They're always going to paint this rosy picture to try to convince you to buy the business, right? So you're the one who has to make sure that you're double checking the financials, right? And you're trying to make sure that you're looking out for any mistakes, or you're looking out for any red flags in the business before you actually purchase it. Now, what should you be focusing on in general? Now, me, I like to focus on industries that I actually understand, right? I don't want to go into a new industry and possibly have to worry about, jumping through hurdles or, pitfalls that I didn't see coming. So I prefer to stay in industries that I'm well versed in, unless I'm buying a business that's pretty much fully running itself, and I can bring in maybe another expert who's going to partner with me, and he's going to be handling most of the day-to-day activities, right? Or at least growing the business. So I always try to stay in the industries I'm familiar with, whether it's digital marketing, e-commerce, so on and so forth, right? Now, also, you want to look for businesses that are kind of lacking in the skills which you're world class at. Okay, so if I'm, in my case, really good at marketing, and I see a business that has been doing a poor job of marketing, I know that I can come in and just with my skill set be able to increase the revenue in that business, right? That's kind of how you want to look at it. Do you have certain skills that you can bring to the table that you can be able to use to grow that business even faster, right? If you are good at operations, or you're a good project manager, and they haven't been doing a good job of creating new products, or have had a process to be able to continually, launch new products or launch new initiatives, or whatever the case may be, and you're good at that, then boom, that's a business that that you can come in and boom, you can see a huge change in the business after 6 months or whatever the case may be. Now, other small things to think about is you will need to open some sort of a holding company. Now, I recommend opening one as soon as possible so that whenever you're ready to buy a business, you can immediately push all the assets into this holding company. The reason why I like using a holding company and I don't buy the actual corporate structure, but I pretty much buy the assets, right? And that's how I look at it, is because this can protect you from, lawsuits that might come up, from before you ever get to take control. An example of this is this, right? Let's say that before you buy the business, the owner had fired an employee without cause, right? And the employee is already, he's in the process of talking with lawyers. No one has any idea what's going on, right? But you are also talking with the business owner to buy the business. And you buy the business, right? The business as a whole, right? You actually buy the LLC or the corporation, whatever structure he's using. So now you own not just all the assets, but you own all the liability as well. So what can happen is this can lead to, now if this employee finally sorts everything out with the lawyer and they decide to file the lawsuit, now the lawsuit is yours to deal with, right? You can't pass that on to the business owner because you bought everything, you bought the entire business as a whole. Whereas what you can do is, especially with the smaller deals, right? You can buy just the assets, right? Okay, you can buy, boom, maybe this is a software company, right? You can buy the code, you can buy the, you know, take control of the employees and handle the payroll and everything like that, and pretty much buy all the assets out of the business, right? And put it into a new LLC or a new business structure, your own business structure. And now you don't have to worry about those lawsuits. If those lawsuits happen, they have to now file that lawsuit with the actual, you know, the original business structure. So you're scot-free. That's how you want to look at it. Okay. So me, the way I like to look at it is I always want to have at least an LLC ready to go that I can use to be able to, be able to have all the be able to push all the assets into. So what I'll do is I'll link down below to a company that actually creates LLCs completely for free. All you have to do is pay your state fees. And so check them out down below. They're actually one of my partners that I use. And I recommend that you check them out unless you want to go through doing it yourself on the Secretary of State website, which is going to be, you're going to pay the same price, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. So click the link down below if you want to support the channel. And that way, whenever you are ready to buy a business, you already have an LLC, in your back pocket that you can just boom, immediately, leverage that information to be able to have them push all the information or push all the assets, bank accounts, everything switched over to your business name. Now, it may not be as big of a worry for you if you're, working with a small business or a business that's just gotten started. And maybe, let's say, for example, they haven't even sold anything yet, right? They haven't even went out to market yet. Then you might be comfortable just buying the business as a whole. But I typically recommend, you go with the LLC, creating your own LLC and then or corporation and getting all the assets pushed into your corporation. Okay. Now, also, guys, if you're not ready to buy a business yet, I recommend you build up your skills in one area. Okay. It's that whole adage, an inch wide, a mile deep. You don't want to try to learn everything. This is something that I did really early on. I try to learn as much as I could about everything. What you want to preferably do is learn. Sure, you can learn everything, but like a surface level of everything, but you go really deep in one area. And for me, that was marketing, right? So I learned as much as I could about digital marketing, about Facebook. Now I'm currently getting into more Google, things like that. But digital marketing was is pretty much my lane that I stuck in, right? So you want to get a general idea and understand all these different aspects of a business, but you want to focus and laser focus on one and learn as much as you can in that area. That way, whenever you go to buy a business, you're going to be really knowledgeable in marketing or in operations, right? Or in financing. And you can leverage those skills to be able to boost and really grow the business even faster. And that's where you're going to see the huge returns. Also, another idea, guys, is maybe bringing in partners who are experts at other aspects of running a business that maybe you might be lacking in. Okay. Now, this one you obviously want to be careful on. I recommend that, even if you're not currently in position to look at buying a business, you want to start networking and just, talking with people, right? What I found is that, especially whenever you're working with other people who have similar goals to you, it's you get sort of this masterminding effect where, you learn from other people's mistakes, they're learning from your mistakes. And what that can do is that can help you down the road, because not only do you have these contacts, right? But even if you decide not to partner with them down the road, or let's say you have a business, you're buying a business and you don't really necessarily need a partner, you can always, bounce ideas off of them to be able to get good feedback back in terms of what you could possibly be doing to continue to improve the business if you ever run into any roadblocks. So that's the gist of it, guys. I thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, as I'll be probably posting a series on me actually starting a business from scratch. Either I'm going to buy the business or I'm going to start it from scratch. So I'll be starting that series so you guys can kind of see, behind the curtain how everything goes and how I go about that entire process. So that's something that interests you guys. Hit that subscribe button, and I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you at the next one. Peace.